G'day, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another crazy dose of EV and Net Zero insanity in MGUY EV news for Friday the 14th of March 2025, Pi Day. Be sure to follow me on the usual socials for more content, links in the description, and please make sure you're subscribed and have enabled all notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos. And if you'd like to support this channel, why not buy me a coffee? Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. So the big story this week was this fire in the tunnel at Heathrow, and initial reports were saying that this was an electric car, but it turns out that it wasn't. It was just a regular ICE car, as we'll see. But the news has been updated, talks about the car exploding. We'll come on to this in a minute, but the Sun, as it reads, blaze horror, watch flames tear through car after it exploded in motorway tunnel near Heathrow Airport, sparking huge delays. Watch the car inferno in the videos. So let's just have a look. Yeah, it looks pretty nasty. This is the moment flames tear through a car after it exploded in a motorway tunnel near Heathrow Airport. The incident on the M4 caused huge delays on Monday morning. Some photos there, delays, and in a blow to holidaymakers, access to terminals 2 and 3 was cut off completely. An airport staff member sent the clip to the Sun after coming across the scene while being ferried to work on a bus. He was stuck for around 90 minutes from 6 a.m. and said it was unclear what had happened at the time. You start thinking all those things like a terror attack. It became very concerning, he explained. So a few people on the internet had gone ahead and put out content and videos that said that this was an electric car exploding. I have been unfortunately unwell this week, so I haven't been really in the mood for putting out videos, but I decided to wait until the dust had settled before putting anything out, because I didn't want to give out any misinformation or incorrect reporting. What I actually did was I sent an email to the London Fire Brigade asking them to comment on it and saying what had happened, and they very kindly provided me with a very short statement, which is here. We can confirm that a vehicle that caught fire in a tunnel near Heathrow Airport in the early hours of 10th March was purely diesel powered. And the original statement just said diesel powered. I went back to them and said, are you okay to confirm that this was purely diesel powered? And they said yes. A journalist who inquired about the incident was incorrectly informed that the vehicle involved had been electric. This was subsequently reported by them and then copied and reported by several other media publications which did not contact London Fire Brigade. Within 2 hours of the first article being published, journalists were directly informed that the vehicle was diesel powered, and most of the articles were promptly updated to reflect this. And in the emails, the media guy at London Fire Brigade very kindly responded to my questions. He said, you know, there's just no way that a fire involving a lithium-ion battery could be cleared and dealt with in 45 minutes. And that's the reality, because there's so much toxins going on. It'd probably still be burning, you know, hours later. So this really doesn't fit the criteria for an EV fire. It clearly was just an ICE fire, and I'm happy to put that on the record right now. I mean, these things do catch fire, EVs do catch fire, but we don't want to misattribute regular car fires to EVs. So we've heard stories about Northvolt in the press recently. They filed for what's called Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection not that long ago. I think it was back in November. That's kind of the initial kind of warning signs going up that they're in trouble. And the news, as reported today, is that the battery maker has gone bankrupt. As Business Insider reports, end of the road for EV battery maker that raised $15 billion from investors, including Goldman Sachs and BlackRock. The EV battery maker Northvolt filed for bankruptcy on Wednesday. The Swedish company, founded by two ex-Tesla executives, struggled amid stuttering demand for EVs. It was widely seen as Europe's hope for an EV battery manufacturer to rival Asian automakers. But that's not so easy, clearly, because they don't have access to the materials. I mean, China's got most of the key minerals. Northvolt, the electric vehicle battery maker founded by two former Tesla executives, has reached the end of the road after failing to secure additional funding. The Swedish company's board announced the bankruptcy on Wednesday, saying that it had explored all available means to secure a viable financial and operational future. Northvolt said it faced multiple challenges in recent months that undermined its financial position, including growing capital costs and geopolitical instability, resulting in supply chain disruptions and fluctuating demand. Despite support from lenders and filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in November, the company failed to achieve the financial conditions required to continue operating. A Swedish court-appointed trustee is now set to oversee the sale of the business and its assets. This is an incredibly difficult day for everyone at Northvolt. Northvolt's interim chair, Tom Johnston, said in a statement, "We set out to build something groundbreaking, to drive real change in the battery, EV and wider European industry and accelerate the transition to a green and sustainable future." Well, it's very sad for the people who've A, been employed there, and B, who invested in it. But it just goes to show that if you try and push something through that's not being driven by the market, then this kind of stuff is unfortunately going to happen. You cannot force something on people that they don't want. China's a different kettle of fish altogether. You know, they seem to be embracing EVs. They're probably forced to buy them. And they have all the minerals and they're cheap. But, you know, even in China, things are going not that well. You know, there's fires every day in China from these things. So, you know, I just think in Europe, where the market is much harder to persuade, this was kind of inevitable. And here we have an EV company encouraging the government to keep pushing for EVs. Polestar urges government to stand strong on NVES. That's the new vehicle emission standards down here in Oz. Polestar is urging the federal government to remain committed to the new vehicle efficiency standard, NVES, amidst comments from industry about slowed EV sales. Wonder why that would be. Oh yes, they make EVs, don't they? Comments made by Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries FCAI Chief Executive Tony Webber suggest the NVES should be revised due to January and February electric vehicle EV retails, despite EV sales growth, 4.7%, outpacing the broader market, 1.7% in 2024. Polestar has criticised the comments, suggesting they aim to undermine the scheme. Efforts to undermine this legislation will only disadvantage Australians, said head of Polestar Australia, Scott Maynard. This week's comments from the FCAI are the latest in a campaign to water down long overdue emission standards that will deliver Australians cleaner cars and lower running costs. Well, yeah, I mean, you can read the rest of it at the link in the description. All these stories are linked down in the description. It's just like, you know, give us more money. We want to keep building EVs, so, you know, government needs to mandate them so we can, you know, make a dime off it. Ridiculous. Over in the US, this guy Lee Zeldin is going gangbusters, slashing and burning through the EPA's mad regulations that it's put in place over the last 40 years and getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, this is going to make the life so much easier in the US. I mean, the EPA is an activist agency pushing for climate action, pushing to limit emissions. It's very partisan. It's got an agenda, and it's been basically left to its own devices for the last 40 years. And now Zeldin, as it says here, EPA launches biggest deregulatory action in US history. Administrator Zeldin announces 31 historic actions to power the Great American Comeback. A video there you can go and watch in your own time. U.S. Environmental Protection Agency EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin announced the agency will undertake 31 historic actions in the greatest and most consequential day of deregulation in U.S. history to advance President Trump's Day One executive orders and power the great American comeback. Combined, these announcements represent the most momentous day in the history of the EPA. While accomplishing EPA's core mission of protecting the environment, the agency is committed to fulfilling President Trump's promise to unleash American energy, lower cost of living for Americans, revitalize the American auto industry, restore the rule of law, and give power back to states to make their own decisions. Hooray. And you can see there's a whole list of stuff here. Regulations on power plants, throttling oil and gas industry, mercury and air toxic standards that improperly targeted coal-fired power plants. This is all good stuff because it's all been, anti-fossil fuels and anti-growth, anti-freedom to basically do the best thing for consumers. And it's pushed prices up through the roof. So good for them. I wish we could do the same here in Australia. Maybe we'll be able to after May if we're lucky. This story sounds just the same as the ridiculous $7 billion to build EV charging stations and they only built 4 or something. This one is about USPS EV vans lost in the mail. Joni Ernst shreds Biden's $3 billion USPS EV boondoggle. Just 93 of 50,000 vehicles delivered. In yet another stunning example of government waste, the Biden administration's $3 billion scheme to convert the US Postal Service USPS fleet to electric vehicles, EVs, has delivered nothing but empty promises, skyrocketing costs, and a mere 93 vehicles out of the planned 50,000. Senator Joni Ernst, Republican Iowa, and Representative Michael Cloud, Republican Texas, are leading the charge against reckless taxpayer-funded disaster. They introduced the Return to Sender Act. Funny. A bill aimed at clawing back the unspent billions that were funneled into the failed USPS EV initiative under Biden's so-called Inflation Reduction Act, IRA. Biden's $3 billion EV fleet for USPS is lost in the mail. Just 93 of 50,000 vehicles have been delivered. I am cancelling the order and returning the unspent money to sender, the taxpayers, Ernst wrote on X. Hilarious. The USPS originally placed its 50,000 vehicle order 3 years ago, but thanks to bureaucratic mismanagement and Biden's radical green agenda, barely 0.2% of those vehicles have made it to the streets. Meanwhile, the cost of production continues to balloon, and taxpayers are footing the bill for a non-existent fleet. Well, this is what happens when you do something based on ideology rather than best value for money or best efficiency or economy. The best value for money, efficiency, economy would to buy a fleet of new diesel trucks. But, when you're trumped, excuse the pun, by ideology, you must go EV and green and clean, then this is the kind of nonsense that you end up with. It's just so predictable. And in the UK, the tube, or the underground, as it's known, some guy was just about to get onto a train, fortunately didn't quite make it, and his electric bike just burst into flames on the platform. And obviously, how much worse would that have been had it been, 10 seconds later, the doors had closed and they were in a tunnel somewhere? Doesn't even bear thinking about. And now the unions are getting involved. Tube union threatens strike unless e-bikes are banned from London Underground after platform blaze. A union has called for e-bikes to be banned from the London Underground after one exploded on a tube station platform. The incident at Rayners Lane station sent toxic fumes billowing across the station and caused temporary disruption to the Piccadilly and Metropolitan lines. A cyclist was wheeling the bike towards a train and was about to board when it exploded. The London Fire Brigade had to be called and extinguish the blaze. ASLEF, the train drivers' union, is now threatening strike action unless Transport for London bans e-bikes. The RMT, the biggest tube union, and the TSSA are also demanding that TfL introduces a ban. Well, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm agreeing with ASLEF and the RMT. I never thought I'd say that. Here's a bit of video of the fire. It's the smoke that kills you. I mean, look at the amount of smoke that's coming off that fire. Yeah. In an enclosed space, that would be absolutely horrible, horrible, horrible. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. They should be banned on enclosed spaces like that, because they could seriously injure, or even, yeah, they could even kill people if people are, asphyxiated by this toxic fumes that, contain really nasty stuff like hydrogen fluoride and hydrochloric acid gas. I mean, these will kill you. So yeah, let's get a ban on those instated. And finally, this is an old story, but it was brought to my attention again, and it's kind of funny. This is what the roadside assistance will look like in our brave new world of EVs. No longer can you just tip in a can of fuel in 10 seconds and be off with a 50 or more mile range from your ICE. You're going to have to wait for one of these mobile EV chargers to give you a boost to stranded motorists. The NRMA's mobile EV chargers can assist electric vehicles that have broken down due to a flat battery. The NRMA is the Australian equivalent of the AAA, or the AA in the UK, the Motorists Association. As Australia, they're wildly pro-EV as well. As Australia's EV uptake continues, the number of drivers in need of roadside assistance due to a flat high-voltage battery will naturally increase. The NRMA's mobile EV chargers are designed to get EVs on the move again. EVs can also run out of battery, and the jerry can that comes to the rescue for stranded drivers has been upgraded. We'll come on to that, with technology to keep up with the times. The NRMA has updated its roadside assistance service by equipping its patrol vehicles with mobile EV chargers. Currently, the service is available in Sydney and Canberra, but it will soon expand to cover all of New South Wales. Our mobile EV chargers have a charge rate of 9.6 kilowatts and a lithium-ion battery capacity of 4.8 kilowatt hours, similar to what modern EVs have. I think they mean similar chemistry and like similar battery, not similar size, clearly, because 4.8 kilowatt hours is nothing. But the funny thing is this 9.6 kilowatt like charging rate. So an hour, you'd get like 10 kilowatt hours. An hour of charging would give you 9.6 kilowatt hours, which might get you 20 miles, 30 miles, 50 kilometers maybe, if you're lucky, compared to 2 minutes, glug, 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 emptying a jerry can into your fuel tank. But this is progress, apparently, according to the NRMA. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye for now.